Top 5 JSE listed ETFs I believe you must have in year 2022. This video is inspired by a video I did previously, I think last week, where I talked about my personal top 5 JSE listed companies that you must have in year 2022. So people in the comment section of that video started to ask, hey Ivan, what is in your own view, the top 5 ETFs to have and all. So I did some digging, got and created this list of my own personal top 5 JSE listed ETFs I believe you must have. And in doing so, doing my research and creating this list, I had to go back to the fundamental, go back to the original definition of what is an ETF, what is an exchange traded fund. Because as we all know, an exchange traded fund is a basket of different asset classes. It can be commodities, it can be shares, it can be tracking of an index, it can be a lot of things. And you buy a share of that ETF, buy a share of that a basket of shares, a basket of commodity, basket of gold. You are buying a share of different range of things under that particular basket. So we get that, we get that understanding, we get what it is. But I had to extract some few elements within that definition. And according to my understanding, the purpose of an ETF, number one, is to create access into market that normal people do not get access to. Number two is to open up the market and allow people to diversify their investment. Number three is to do so in a low cost, low fee type of a way. Number three as well is to ensure that not only people get access to different asset classes, but they get access to different markets as well. So when I was creating my list, I had to take into account those fundamental elements in the definition of what is an ETF. So this list is inspired by those elements in that definition, so I can be able to ensure I create a well-structured list that covers those elements, because I believe those elements are in the core and the core fundamentals of what truly is an ETF, and I have to find good performing ETF that meet up to those elements. So if you're new to my channel, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, turning on notification bell to get notified with every brand new video I drop right here on my YouTube channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, please do ensure that you join my YouTube membership. I just launched my first YouTube membership. There are two forms of membership. There's the venture capital one and there's the private investor one. So pick one you like, one that you feel will be able to help grow this community of ours. Plus note that one of them has exclusive content for members only, where I will be streaming or having live stream with experts, with analysis to pick companies, crypto investment, whatever it is, an exclusive member only content. So please ensure that you join my YouTube membership. So without wasting any time, guys, let's get into today's video. Hello future millionaires and billionaires, welcome to the insightful and informative video right here on my YouTube channel. As the title suggests, today's video talking about my top 5 JSE listed ETFs I believe you must have in year 2022. As always, guys, I have my diary with me where I keep all my notes. So if I keep on looking down, I'm referring to my notes. And as always, guys, I am not a financial registered advisor. None of my video constitute as financial advice, and as well an extra disclaimer on today's video, guys. I am not a huge fan of exchange traded funds, which are ETFs, which is what I'm talking about today. So whatever thing I say, guys, take that into account. It may have clouded the way I picked my ETFs, but I believe I was as neutral as possible. I believe I took into account all the context that needed to be taken into account and all the factors. I did my research very well, and as I said, majority of the ETFs I am speaking on I hold. So as well, if you want to take that as being biased as well, feel free. I'm just putting out there as a disclaimer that you guys know that point of view. So let's get into it, guys. Exchange traded funds, I gave a definition in the beginning of this video, but here's a few things I want to put out there when you're gonna invest into exchange traded funds. Number one, guys, when you are looking to investing into an ETF, always check what an ETF you want to invest into qualifies to fit in your tax-free savings account or does not, because it's always an added benefit when an ETF you find you like also fits into a tax-free savings account, meaning you don't have to pay tax into the dividends or the income gain that come from that ETF. That's number one. Number two, guys, before you invest into any ETF, look at where that ETF, what are the management fees? Are they low or they are high? For me, I always say stay within under 1%. Even 1% is too much, but always stay below 1% when you want to invest into an ETF. The management fee must not be above 1%. If they are above 1% per annum, that is too much. But I won't even go near an ETF that's 0.8% annual management fee. I won't even go close to that one. I won't touch such an ETF. As well, guys, take into account the trade history of that particular ETF you're investing into. That is important as well. So always look at the trade history, look at the trade performance, previous trading performance, how it has performed previously. As well, look into how diversified is that company, or not company, that ETF is, in terms not only the sector, but the companies in the particular sectors that the ETF wants to hold. So those are the things that, guys, you must always look into before you buy an ETF. What else have I forgotten? I think I covered everything. Also, look at the portfolio value as well. I don't like to buy ETF that have a low portfolio value. I don't know. I always feel like an ETF must be above 800 million in portfolio value. If it's below that, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable putting my money in such an ETF. Maybe it's an Ivan thing. Tell me what you think in the comment section. So let's get into it. My top 5 ETFs for year 2022. Let's start at number 1, guys. It has to be Centric RES ETF. I'll put the name and the logo somewhere around here. Guys, let me read you guys this. Management fee, 0.42%. Portfolio value, 900 million. Dividends yield, 6.87%. In the past 12 months, this ETF has performed and seen growth of up to 27%. And its share currently is selling at 76 Rand 0.67%. Not percent, cents, sorry for that. Guys, this is one of my favorite ETF in the JSE, guys. This ETF, guys, is structured as a way to follow capped resources. And this ETF, guys, gives you access into the majority of mining companies in the joint stock market. You're talking about Anglo American, Anglo Platinum, you're talking about Impala Platinum, Sasol, you're talking about Solid Fields, Goldfields. So Goldfields, they have them under this ETF. When you buy one share of this ETF, guys, you're getting all those mining companies under it. This is one of my favorite ETF in the Johannesburg stock market because it gives exposure basically to the cap resource are filled with all this mining company under it. And this one I just mentioned is just the peak of the ice. There's so much into this ETF that I had to put it as my number 1 ETF in the JSE for year 2022. And in the way some of the commodities such as platinum, iron ores are set to perform. I know there's a little bit of drama around coal. I won't touch on that. I'm gonna leave that alone. But the way some commodities are predicted to perform this year, I believe this ETF will see growth in year 2022. My second ETF for me in terms of my favorite one in the JSE for year 2022 as well is had to be at the Signa. The word, guys, Signa. FTSE 100 ETF. The FTSE 100 ETF of Signa is my favorite one as well. But number 1, it gives me exposure into the London market. I know it's something we're struggling to get access to in South Africa. But when you buy this ETF, guys, you get exposure into the London market with companies such as Unilever, BP. The list goes on and on of great companies that are under this one. I said is the FTSE's 100, basically top 100 companies listed in the London stock market. And guys, let me preview this. The management fee of this ETF, a little bit high, sitting at 0.75 per annum. They have seen over 13.27% growth in the past year alone. But as I said, guys, the main reason I love this ETF is that it gives me exposure into the London market, and it gives me exposure into some companies I always loved and always wanted to, for example, Unilever, for example, BP. This drama around BP, but I'll leave that. So I believe in the way the market is recovering, the way we are seeing less and less of COVID-19 restriction also in Europe, getting a little bit down, being limited. There's no longer that much limitations of movement. We see some of the companies are fully recovering, and the FTSE's 100 of Signa, I'm saying we're going to see growth into it. So it is number 2 in terms of my ETF to have in the JSE for year 2022. And let's move into my third one. My third one has to go back to Centric Top 40 JSE listed companies ETF. The Top 40 ETF of Centric, it has to be my number 3. Guys, currently sitting at 67 Rand 30 cents per share. It's seen over 17% growth in the past 12 months alone. Dividend yield of 3.67%. As well as a portfolio value of up to 11.3 billion Rand. And this is an ETF to have. Number 1, the management fee are so low at 0.09%. And another nice thing about this ETF is that it's one of the only ETF that are tracking the top 40 in the JSE, that the margin of error in following that index of the top 40 JSE listed company is so small. The second thing is, if you're starting investing in the JSE and you don't want to invest and buy every single individual stock that's in the top 40, you just buy this ETF and you're solved. And your problem is solved because, as I said, the management fee are low, margin of error following the index of the top 40 is low, as well as it's well managed, and I love the market cap it has, as well as it's Centric, guys. Centric is one of the best in terms of paying out good dividends. I said the dividends are sitting at 3.67%, and I'm saying, and I believe this year I say an increase in the top 40 companies performing well. We see good performance on that index. Yes, currently now is January, it's a little bit doing poorly, but we have expected this for January. So this is my third pick. The Centric Top 40 ETF is my third pick to have in the JSE. My top 4 now, in the number 4 spot, has to be the core share S&P Global Dividends Share. ETF, so not share, dividends share. Dividends ETF. My apologies for that. This has to take the 4th spot for me. I love this dividend. I know it's doing poorly right now, but the portfolio size of this dividend sits at 1 billion Rand. Its share right now is selling at 16 Rand 0.33 cents or 0.33 cents. For the past year, they're seeing growth only of up to 11%, and the management fee of this core share at S&P dividends, global dividends ETF is at 0.35%. And the main reason I love this ETF, from my point of view, guys, is because it's a global dividends structured ETF. The main purpose, the main existence of this ETF is just to create dividends. It's just to ensure that in every country, but it's a global one, guys. It's in countries such as Canada, it's in Europe, it's in Asia. 60% of it is in America, meaning you're well diversified. And this company as well, majority of it, yes, is in IT, communication, and customers and consumption. I wrote something wrong here. But the one reason I love it, also number 1, is diversified. The diversification that comes with it at the main time is a dividends ETF. Like, you get that, guys. It's diversified, while in that process of being diversified so hugely and so widely, is as well to ensure that you earn passive income through dividends. So this, for me, has to take the number 4 spot. The number 5 spot in my top 5 JSE listed ETF. It has to be the Centric Nasdaq 100. I don't have to talk more about this ETF. Those who have been following know how much of a big fan I am of the Nasdaq 100, especially this one, because this one is the one that has non-financial companies into it. You see the likes of Amazon, Microsoft, Apple. You see the likes of Tesla in this ETF, guys. And for me, in the beginning of my investment, I wanted companies like like Microsoft, Amazon, as well as Tesla. Not much of a big fan of Apple. I wanted those companies, but I was not ready in the beginning of my investment journey to go straight and have a as equity USD account. So what I did is I invested into this ETF, but I got the same exposure in that market, in the companies I wanted in Nasdaq 100, top 100 non-financial companies. I got all of them, but still having the security of an ETF, and still have the security of being listed in the JSE, and still have the security of being diversified. So that's, for me, was a huge player in the beginning of my investment journey, and that's the main reason I like this ETF in the beginning. And currently, tech companies are struggling, and I believe this ETF is going for a sale right now, because as the year go by, we'll see an increase in this type of field, in the tech field. We'll see those companies recovering and making huge money and huge performance in the stock market, and this ETF will become more and more expensive at that stage. I believe now it's selling for a discount, and I said the management fee of this ETF is 0.12%. The market size of this ETF is 3.2 billion rand. Well diversified, well managed. I can't stop speaking about it. 50% of this ETF is in IT and in communication. That's it. That is my top 5 JSE listed companies. Not JSE listed company, but JSE listed ETF for year 2022, guys. I hope you find this video insightful, informative. Do tell me in the comment section of this video, what do you think of my ETF pick? Do you like them? Do you agree with them? Do you believe that some I must remove, some I must add? And let's have a conversation about it. And as I said, if you're new to my YouTube channel, guys, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, hit the notification button, and as well joining my membership and help build up my content, help build up the content I create by supporting. There are 2 fields to join the membership. The private investor one is the venture capital one. The venture capital one, you get exclusive content, exclusive feed, as well as you get the opportunity to market yourself and your business on my YouTube channel when you join that field. As always, guys, I am Ivis Pitney Sambo, your student investor. Thank you so much for watching.